2026 will be the year that your job, your health, your privacy, and even your mind will meet AI head-on. Not in theory, not in 10 years, but in the next 12 years. Some of you will gain superpowers. Some of you will feel the ground move under your feet. All of us will be forced to decide how far we are willing to go. That is what this video is all about. What is really coming in 2026, and what it means for you, your business, and your future. For the last 14 years, I have tracked how emerging technologies reshape our world. Every year, I publish 10 big trends for the year ahead. Last year, I called 2025 the year of reckoning, a year where the hype would collide with reality. So before we go forward, let's be honest about what just happened. In 2025, digital trust broke. Deepfakes, AI scams, and synthetic media exploded. Anyone could create any reality they wanted and blast it across the internet. At the same time, the web drowned in content. Around half of everything online is now generated by AI, and next year that moves toward 90%. So data is cheap, and clarity is scarce. Politics shifted too. Trump's return reshaped tech policy in the US, AI deregulation, a new push for crypto, and a sharper tech Cold War. Globally, the pattern held. The US pushed frontier innovation, China iterated at massive scale, and Europe focused more on regulation than raw innovation. Other trends moved, but not fully. AI is everywhere in the conversation, but many organizations still struggle to use it properly. Quantum computing is getting closer, but hasn't broken our encryption just yet. Augmented reality is better, but not mainstream, and healthcare is proactive, but still held back by old systems. And at the edge, two big signals emerged. Real-world assets slowly moved on-chain through tokenization, and humanoid robots quietly walked into factories, warehouses, and care pilots. So yes, 2025 was intense, but there's an uncomfortable truth. Today is the slowest the world will ever be again. Which brings us to 2026. I call the year 2026 the year of augmented intelligence. This is the year where intelligence becomes a shared space, not just human intelligence, not just machine intelligence, but a fused system where both shape how we live, work, and govern. AI is moving off-screen, into robots, devices, glasses, earbuds, hospitals, factories, and even our nervous systems. Nations are competing not just on GDP or ideology, they are competing on compute, chips, models, data, and robotics. And you and I are caught in the middle, between convenience and surveillance, between opportunity and displacement, between empowerment and control. So let's walk through the 10 trends that will define 2026. And I want you to keep one question in mind. Are we using AI to extend human capability, or are we using it to replace, manipulate, and extract? So let's dive in to the first trend. China overtakes the West. Trend number 1. China overtakes the West in technological capabilities. This is no longer a future scenario. It is happening. China is building ultra-efficient AI models. They are pushing photonic chips. They are filling factories with robots. And they are integrating all of this into one massive ecosystem. For Western leaders, this changes the game. Chinese tech will often be cheaper, faster, and good enough. Or even world-class. That means you must treat China as both partner and competitor. You can't ignore it. You can't depend on it blindly either. You'll need a China plus one strategy. Backup suppliers, alternative clouds, redundant chip sources. You also need to verify your exposure. Where are your chips made? Where does your data flow? Which jurisdiction controls your critical infrastructure? Done well, this shift can democratize tech. Cheaper hardware and open models can empower small businesses in the global south, but only if we pair it with reskilling, collaboration, and smarter governance. Trend number 2. Small language models, or SLMs, will shrink AI and spread it everywhere. For the last years, everyone chased bigger models, more parameters, more compute. In 2026, the center of gravity shifts. We move from one giant brain into the cloud to millions of small, specialized brains at the edge. These SLMs run on your car, on your watch, in a hospital, inside a factory line. They don't need a giant data center. They don't need a perfect internet connection. They answer fast, on device, and close to where decisions happen. Big models will still matter for complex reasoning, for heavy research, but most of the work will be handled by small, cheap, and fast models. And your job as a leader is to design that split. What goes to the big brain and what stays local. And you must verify, not just is this model smart, but is it accurate enough, fast enough, and safe enough for this task? The future isn't one godlike model. It is millions of small minds working alongside millions of humans. Trend number 3. A data warehouse in a box. Think of it this way. In 2026, the real revolution isn't just more cloud, it is supercompute coming home. Imagine a powerful AI server sitting next to an MRI machine, next to a trading engine, inside a factory, in a warehouse. This box can run heavily AI locally. No round trips to distant data centers, lower latency, better privacy, more control. Companies like Nvidia and Cerebras are pushing this hard. Their hardware turns supercomputer into something a department can deploy, not just a government lab. This means that every factory, every clinic, every branch will become a micro AI hub. But you will need new habits. Edge-first architecture, real-time monitoring, clear rules about who can access what data. The big shift is this. We move from send all data to the cloud to bring intelligence to where the data already lives. When intelligence becomes embodied. The 4th trend. The metaverse returns, but not as a buzzword. In 2026, the metaverse becomes a serious simulation layer, powered by AI. We are talking about virtual worlds that behave like reality. Non-player characters that remember you. Simulated cities that you can redesign on the fly. Digital twins of factories and hospitals that update in real time. This isn't about escaping the real world, it is about rehearsing it. Before you build a new plant, you can simulate it. Before you change a city's traffic flows, you can test them. Before you run a crisis response, you can train teams in a safe and realistic world. Games will lead the way. Think about the next Grand Theft Auto using AI to generate objects, scenes, and characters on demand. The same tools will then move into business, healthcare, education, and government. The key is trust. You need to know who is in the simulation, what rules the AI follows, and whether the outcomes apply to the real world. Done right, simulation becomes a superpower, a way to test the future before you commit to it. The 5th trend, the rise of humanoids as a service. Humanoids are moving from sci-fi to subscription. Costs are dropping fast, production runs are scaling, and early use cases are working. Warehouses already use humanoids robots to move boxes. Some facilities test them for basic tasks in logistics and care. Instead of buying robots, companies will rent them, like you rent cloud compute today. This is a setup year. Humanoids won't replace whole workforces just yet, but they will show where they fit. Leaders should start small. Short pilots, clear tasks, simple metrics, speed, safety, and reliability. Most important, involve your people. If workers see robots as a threat, you will lose. If they see them as tools that remove dull, dirty, or dangerous work, you win. Humanoids won't just be about efficiency. They'll force us to rethink roles, training, and what human work really means. The friction of an augmented society. Trend number 6. AI-driven crime goes fully automated. Cybercrime stops looking like a guy in a hoodie, and it becomes a swarm of tireless AI agents. These agents can scan your systems, find your weakest link, write the phishing email, fake the voice on the phone, generate the deepfake video, and cash out, end to end. Deepfake fraud already cost hundreds of millions. In 2026, it will spread into every part of life, from CEOs to small businesses to families. And the lesson is harsh. Every identity is now an attack surface, and every workflow is a potential entry point. Old defenses won't cut it. You'll need zero trust, verify every request, every time. You'll need behavior-based detection, not just static rules. And you'll need culture. Teams that report suspicious activities without fear, and leaders who treat security as everyone's job. The good news? AI can defend as well as attack, if you invest in it. Trend number 7. Growing unrest over privacy-breaking hardware. Always-on devices used to feel cool. Smart glasses, AI pendants, mic-enabled, everything. In 2026, many people will see them as intruders. We've already seen the early signs. Public campaigns against creepy devices, anger when people realize they're being recorded without consent. As richer users adopt these gadgets, they unintentionally turn into roaming surveillance hubs. The backlash will grow. People will fight back in creative ways. Makeup that confuses facial recognition, hairstyles and clothing that break computer vision, tools that poison training data. Communities may declare no censor zones, cafes, neighborhoods, and even whole districts. For companies, trust becomes the deciding factor. Devices will need clear lights, shutters, and default off modes, independent audits, and proof that bystanders are protected and not harvested. This isn't a war on technology, it's a defense on human agency. We are willing to be augmented, we are not willing to be watched without consent. The human frontiers of AI. Trend number 8. Brain-computer interfaces move into consumer life. BCIs won't look like heavy helmets anymore. They'll hide inside earbuds, glasses, and workplace gear. These devices can read simple neural signals, focus, stress, intent to speak. That means games controlled partly by thought, work tools that know when you're overloaded, accessibility tech that gives new options to people who can't use traditional interfaces. But here's the big question. If tech can reach into your mental state, who controls that doorway? You? Your employer? Or the platform owner? Neural data must be treated as sacred. Consent must be real-time and revocable. And we need hard rules on what can be recorded, stored, and sold. Used well, BCIs can expand autonomy. Used badly, they threaten the last private frontier, the mind. Trend number 9. Dramatic healthcare discoveries increase our health span. Health span means the years you live in good health, not the years you are alive. In 2026, healthcare will shift from fixing when you are sick to catching problems long before they show up. Wearables and at-home sensors monitor sleep, heart rhythm, inflammation, glucose, and more. AI spots patterns that humans would miss. Doctors get alerts weeks before symptoms. At the same time, AI accelerates drug discovery. What used to take decades can be compressed into months. The clearest signal is money. Insurers and new longevity companies are starting to pay for early testing, coaching, and continuous monitoring, because preventing disease is cheaper than treating it. For hospitals and health systems, the challenge is big. They must redesign around prevention, personalization, and continuity, and they must prove their AI models are fair, accurate, and explainable. In simple terms, healthcare becomes less about hospitals and more about a constant, invisible system that helps you stay functional for longer. Trend number 10. AI-powered job losses hit escape velocity. This is where it gets personal. Companies are already laying off people and naming AI directly in the announcement. Surveys show that around 4 in 10 employers plan to cut roles because of automation. Entry-level roles are shrinking, routine, white-collar work is exposed. And this is just the opening act of a much bigger wave. I have warned before that by 2030 we could see up to 1 billion jobs disrupted or transformed. 2026 is when the curve starts to steepen. Leaders now face a choice. Treat workers as disposable or treat workforce transformation as a core strategy. That means reskilling at scale, designing teams where humans and AI collaborate by default, giving everyone basic AI literacy, and aligning with governments on safety nets and retraining. The future of work is no longer a debate. It is a design problem, and the clock is ticking. So let's zoom out. Across all 10 trends, one pattern is clear. Intelligence is being embedded everywhere. In nations competing for compute, in tiny models at the edge, in robots and warehouses, in simulated worlds, in cameras and glasses, in neurotech, in healthcare, in crime, in your paycheck. Human-only systems can't keep up anymore. But that doesn't mean humans are obsolete. We must stay clear about what AI is. These systems are not conscious. They don't understand and they don't care. They are powerful pattern machines. They predict, they simulate, they optimize. Our advantage is choice. We decide what matters. We decide how these tools are used. In 2026, the winners will be humans who work with AI. Leaders who combine machine skill automation with human skill judgment, ethics, and meaning. So here's my challenge to you. Don't ask, will AI take my job? Ask, how do I become the human that designs, directs, and audits the AI? 2026 is the year of augmented intelligence. The future isn't something that happens to us, it is something we build. And if you want to go deeper into each of these 10 trends, you can grab the full 2026 trend report by scanning the QR code. Until then, stay curious, stay critical. And remember, the most important technology in 2026 is still the one between your ears.